Okay, I'd like to call to order the committee of the whole meeting for Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. This is being held and transmitted electronically via council chambers located at 39 South Shore Road, Lake Cowichan. I'd like to acknowledge that we're gathered here tonight on the unceded territories of the Subatsa First Nation. First item would be an introduction. I have some changes to the agenda. The first one is under delegations. Elijah Allison is not available tonight. And then under new business C, the contract planner CMHC HAF grant funds, that is also being deleted from the agenda tonight. With that in mind, is there any introduction of late items? No, I'll call for a motion to Councillor Sandhu, seconded by Mayor McGonigal. Any discussion? All those in favour? The motion is passed. Next up, we have public input. If anyone would like to speak to any agenda items tonight, you have 3 minutes. You can come forward to the podium. Mr. Garrett looks like he's locked and loaded.
My name is Bill Garrett. I live in Lake Park Estates here in town, and I'd like to speak to the item regarding Lakewood Manor. There are several items on the letter that was presented in the agenda. The first one being a waiver of the DCC fees. There is a concept that waiving a fee doesn't cost you anything because it's not cash in hand. But if we take a look at bylaw 1078-2022, you will note, and whereas, in opinion of the council, the charges imposed by this bylaw are related to cost attributed to projects including in the municipal's financial plan and long-term capital plans and capital projects consistent to the official community plan. In other words, the fees that are obtained go towards the capital cost of the community. You want to buy a fire engine or garbage truck? This helps reduce the cost to the public. You waive the fee, and down the road, you're going to end up costing taxpayers increased fees.
We have been informed that we can't actually waive DCC fees. So if we were to give any kind of support, it would be through the HAF grant fund. So we understand that we cannot waive DCCs. We're understanding of that.
The other item was relative to the property tax waiver. Now, I appreciate the council has the ability to do so, but if you do, you're going to have to look at bylaw number 1107-2024, in that it specifies which organizations and properties in towns qualify for a waiver of the exemptions. If you want to add the manor to that, you're going to have to rewrite the bylaw. This organization is requesting a letter by the 18th of July, and with the rewrite of the bylaw, I don't believe that's going to be possible, nor do I think it's appropriate. They're asking for a waiver of taxes for 10 years. The existing bylaw grants the existing exempted properties only up until 2029, 4 years from now. And it's my personal opinion, I don't think that council should be committing any long-term waiver past their own term of office. Why would you commit future councils to something they may not agree with? Final item I have is the off-site service costs. They're talking about using the accelerated fund in order to help offset these costs. Well, we're faced with an issue at the sewer treatment facilities. And from what I understand, within the remaining funds within the accelerator grant, there's only about $180,000 there. They're talking about improvements to the roads, sewer systems, and whatnot on Renfrew. I know for full well that over on Lake Park, I did an inquiry to see just what it would cost to pave Lake Park Road, only 2 blocks, and that was $147,000 alone. There's not enough money in there to do anything for them of any benefit, and it would be far better to use those funds to the benefit of the entire community and not just one specific group. Those are my concerns, and I hope that you consider these going forward in your deliberations. Thank you.
And what Mr. Garrett is referring to there is correspondence from the group that is applying. So there's obviously no recommendations from council or comments about that yet. Is there any other public input? No, we're all good. Okay, we'll move on to minutes from the committee of the whole meeting. This is just for information. Is there any comments on those minutes? No, we'll move on. I don't see any business arising. We don't have any delegations tonight. Fittingly, we'll move straight into this correspondence from Wiser re Lakewood Manor. Mr. Thomas, would you like to present that? Or, sorry. It's, does it further your private interests? It's up to you. It's up to you. Okay. Just like to note that Councillor Austin is recusing herself due to sitting on the committee as of 5:06. Who would like to present this? Bridget?
Okay, thank you. So yes, on the agenda, there's a letter from Wiser Group, who is working with the Cowichan Lake Elder Care Society on moving their application to BC Housing forward. And they hope to be submitting by the end of this month, hence this letter. So they're requesting, there's 4 requests that they have. One is a letter of support for the project, and that includes commitment to a number of things. So the DCC waiver that has been discussed. So yeah, the town cannot waive DCC funds. However, the CMHC Housing Accelerator Fund, one of the deliverables that is identified in that fund for which the town has committed to is about using these funds to support affordable housing projects, and specifically in supporting, in helping with development cost charges. And so staff will be bringing forward to council a more broad-based announcement that we would be putting out to the community to say that this is the source of funds are available to a nonprofit or so on developer who's developing developing affordable housing units within the community that are for, you know, a period of time, 30+ years type of thing. And again, it's for providing for lower income housing, below market housing. So we'll be coming forward with that. However, this is a separate, just because of the timing. The request here is for the using the HAF funds for this project's development cost charges, estimated about $281,000. And we have confirmed with CMHC that this is certainly something that is part of their program. The second waiver that they're requesting is the property tax waiver, so through the property tax exemption bylaw, and that I don't have an estimate as far as the permissive the amount that would be. Unfortunately, our director of finance is away, so I couldn't get that answer. And they're also requesting support for some of the off-site service costs. And in speaking with Supervisor Sandhu, costs are estimated at about $200,000. And I mean, there is a possibility that HAF funds could be used, but that's not something that has thus far been envisioned with the HAF funds. So, and I don't know that there's any other mechanism by which council could provide support for the off-service site costs. So, so that one, I don't know, but so that's what they're requesting at this time.
Okay, before I turn to my fellow council, do you, Ms. Reynolds and Mr. Thomas, do you have any recommendations on how we should proceed on this process?
Yeah.
I think council should discuss the merits of whether the housing project itself is supportive. If council is supportive of that project, if council is, I think a letter of recommendation or support is certainly something you can advance. With respect to the request on DCC wavering, so again, council cannot lawfully waive DCCs, but you can indicate a commitment to creating a process whereby not-for-profit organizations in the community can apply for that half funds that council has, which is, I think, in the neighborhood of 800,000 at the moment. We also need to make sure that those funds are reflected in your budget if you're going to disperse them this year, so that may require a budget amendment. And once those criteria are developed and approved by council, you can invite applications, receive them, and consider them similar to what you would do for a grant and aid process, because that's effectively what you're doing. It's not funds that are generated by the taxpayers of the town or the community. Rather, you've received a grant that you wish to flow to not-for-profit organization, and this would meet the requirements of that grant application. So you can either support provide authorization for council to consider a letter of support tonight. You can invite them to resubmit an application once this program is developed, and also commit to creating that program. You can respond to the request for property taxation, however council wish to proceed on that particular one. And for off-site service requests or costs, you can also reconsider that in the future.
Any questions from McGonigal?
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I could certainly support a letter of support from the town. This has been a project that has resided within our purview for probably 15 years, trying to accommodate affordable senior housing within our community to free up some properties that may reside within single people living within them. So I will support a letter on this project. I do have a question though, through to staff, for perhaps not an answer tonight, but looking at our exemptions within our annual report, and the reason for them expiring in 2029 is that they were accommodated for 5 years. That's the process currently within the policy, I believe. If we can just verify that that is the tax exemption policy, then we can bring that forward in the future for consideration of that request. So I will move a letter of support for the project on behalf of the town of Lake Cowichan.
Okay, that motion was forwarded by Mayor McGonigal, seconded by Councillor Sandhu. Any more discussion? I guess what I'm hearing is we support the project. We would like to come back with the process and also costs, because there's even in the letter of the correspondence, there's a lot of blank amounts there. So it would be great to get more of a hold of what amounts we're talking about there. If there's no more discussion, I'll call the question on that first motion of the letter of support. All those in favour? That motion has passed.
And further, if I may, Mr. Chair, that we direct staff to work on DCC requests and tax exemption requests within the letter, with supporting documentation for a future meeting, and off-site servicing costs.
Okay, with that matter closed, if someone could grab Councillor Austin. I could go. You got it, Bill? Thank you.
Direction to staff is okay for that one?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to reports, we have the Director of Finance financial report for period ending June 30th, 2025. Any discussion on that? Or sorry, if anyone would like to present that. I know Ms. Gill is away.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good day, Council. So before you, as you're aware, the Director of Finance, Ronald Gill, is away at the moment, and I am in my first meeting taking the opportunity to present her numbers. I will say her numbers are quite robust and transparent in the way it's presented. Before I go into some details on some general observations, I'd like to point your attention to a report. Point of note, the administration fee for the year January to December have been reflected in the financial statements before you. The administration fees are charged to all functions of the town, apportioned out, I should say. As a result, some expenses show with a negative balance in these statements. But again, this is just for the entire fiscal year, while recognizing we are currently in July at the moment. 2024 Ford Super Duty F550 has been purchased for Public Works Department at a cost of $225,000. The paving project for the town office has also been completed, and I think it was well done. And landscaping has also been completed. Thank you, Public Works, for seeing that through. This would have been a major capital project for this year as well. The Lakeview Park reservation system is up and running. The program has new features which the students and office staff are learning, and there are more learning happening with rollout of Microsoft Teams as the staff are getting on board with that as well. Flipping the page to the revenue section of the financial statements, I would just like to point your attention to the budgeted amounts, which would be the last two columns, or last three columns, relative to the actual year to date. And again, this is up to June 30th, 2025. We forecast a budget revenue of $11,400,000, roughly, almost $500,000. We have to date received $8,567,000. On the expense side, flipping to page number 2, this is just some high-level figures. So you may see on the actual figures, we've spent $2.1 million so far, whereas we have $12,600,000 forecasted in expenses. This, on its face, would look like a significantly compressed financial expenditure, meaning that we're not actually flowing the dollars in implementing the program that Council has set for the year. I will say that some invoices have come in for major capital projects like the paving in the community, which may not necessarily be reflected in these statements by the time they have been produced for Council. That being said, if we look at the general government services line item at the very top of that page, you will see that we have budgeted 1.06 million, and we've spent 300,000 to date. Public Works Road, we have budgeted 445,000, and we've spent 161,000. For capital projects, we have budgeted 3.1 million, and we've spent 429,000. A significant part of the challenges with implementing the capital budget or operating budget for the fiscal year would include the turnover in staff that has taken place, particularly with the CAO. That definitely impacts the ability to get projects out the door. Now that that position has been filled, we are working to expedite a number of these major capital projects, including the lagoon and other matters that are on the table. And you will see, perhaps by the next financial reporting, some of these numbers change around to get the monies out the door and get the projects delivered for the community. I'm open to any questions, though I may have to take some back, and I preface that.
Mayor McGonigal.
Might I suggest, if we do have any questions, that we email the CFO in her absence, and she will respond upon her return. But with that, now that I have the floor, I will, through you, if I could, to our Superintendent of Public Works. Within the capital project of the paving / landscaping within the town hall project, and significant budget that was accommodated for that. Can you give us an idea of how that is coming in?
So you're asking what the costs are compared to what we had budgeted? Costs are quite a bit below what we had budgeted, but we still have a few more things to do. The flagpole's got to go up and a bit more landscaping finished, some more parking stall, wheel stops and stuff. So we got a little bit more cost there, but we, rather than tendering it out, we did it in-house and we saved a significant amount of money doing it in-house.
Follow up, if I may. Are there sufficient parking spaces for the space of this building as per the bylaw?
Not on that side, we'll have to utilize some of these ones too.
Well, given that this is a road, we'll have to decommission this road as well, so just so you know. No, I think it looks good once the planting is done and the flagpoles are up, I think.
Yeah, it's coming.
And timing for allowing vehicles to park there?
Probably end of next week. I'm just trying to let the asphalt harden up a little bit. I noticed a couple of days ago when I went through even the barricades, the legs of them were sinking into the asphalt. That's why we removed them.
Thank you very much. Looks good.
And just follow up. So we did earmark $400,000 for that project. We're sitting at 39. Do you know anywhere close of what will be? Are we looking at a $200,000 cost, or I guess this is all guesswork, isn't it? Sorry, Mr. Thomas.
One of the things that I've been tasked to deal with since I've started was to sign up on a number of invoices, and I have signed up on close to $200,000 worth of invoices for paving so far. It might be a bit more. This is just based on memory. So definitely not $30-some thousand in cost for that project.
And sorry, just follow up. That 200,000, was that paving just for that, or that's for other areas in town? We can't be. That kind of cost 200 grand.
I don't recall the specifics off the top of my head, but I'll look into that and respond to council.
Maybe we should just wait till next month till the invoices are in. So thanks for that. Any other follow-up questions, Councillor Sandhu?
Just two questions. Saywell Park parking stalls, the budget of $25,000. What is that for?
Again, we're gonna all the wheel stops are gonna be replaced. We've done some of them, but we just haven't had time to finish them. All the line painting and just general cleanup of the parking lot. That's what that was allowed for.
One more. Security cameras, budget $15,000. Will that be done? Will that be implemented this year at Saywell Park?
Yes. I'm just going through the quotes right now, so.
Okay, with no more discussion, I'll move on. Next up, we have the Building Inspector report for June 2025. This would be just for information. Is there any discussion on that? No discussion. We'll move on to the Lake Cowichan Fire Department for June 2025. We are looking for a mover of the amount of $9,213.80. It's moved by Councillor Austin. It's seconded by Councillor Vomaka. Any discussion on that? Call the question. All those in favour? That motion is passed. Sorry? I did. Moving on to reports B, we have Cowichan Lake Education Centre and Lakeview Park updates on operations by Mr. Smith.
It'll be a pleasure to tell you some of the events that are happening. So first of all, the revenue for the Education Center is understated on the income report. And so we have about $100,000 of receivables that are in there at this present time in progress. And of course, there'll be additional expenses. Now, this is the crazy time of year, as all of you are probably aware. We've been having some great bookings as we anticipated. I believe we will meet or exceed our revenue projections that we've submitted for the 2025. And the kind of groups that have been coming, actually, just again in generalities, are people, they're all not-for-profit groups and organizations. And I know council members know that, but I think it's sometimes good to state it publicly. We've had groups coming from overseas, from Australia, England, United States, and of course Canada. in some of the groups that have come for a 14-day session. And this particular group has been coming for many years, and they continue to come to our facility because they like it and they think it's a good, safe place to be. We also accommodate a lot of youth groups, as you're well aware, and we have different partners that we've had very good success with and are booking more and more. We have some health organizations from Port Alberni, groups like the Kwame Lelam Family Services, Port Alberni Family Services. We've had the BC Federation of Youth that came from Vancouver this May 5th, and they've booked for 2026 and 2027. And what I've been doing with groups and organizations now is trying to make sure that if they want to secure a space at the center, for those busy months that are, usually we have 7 months of really good activity, and I'm trying to encourage them to book in advance. And it seems like that's working. And that way we have, as well as that, we have our good anchor tenant with Camp Yes that Chelsea made a presentation to council not too long ago. And they've also started their 7-week programs as of this past weekend. And it's very hectic. People should realize that sometimes if we have a group of 80 people in there, 240 meals a day, snacks, and you can only imagine the bathrooms and the rolls of toilet paper, et cetera, et cetera. So far it's pretty good. It's hectic. Made a few other notes. I think basically that's it about the center. I can field some questions, of course. The Lakeview Park campsite is busy as planned. We will meet or exceed our projections there as well. And of course, we have a good team of people that are working there. They're all young people, all local people, and of course, sometimes require a little bit of training and have to tell them to slow down because they're driving the golf cart too fast or something. But basically, a really good team of people. And I think all the people that are employed by the town, my direct staff are 21 to 24 people, on payroll, and they're a good team of people. And so I just want to make sure that council is aware of that. And it's not to say we don't have some problems, but you don't have to worry about that. That's our operations, and we'll hope to take care of it. I think that is about all, unless there's some questions. But the other thing I want to mention, with permission of the CAO and council, it would be nice to, it's been suggested to me that it would be nice to sometimes bring in the visitor center coordinator to maybe say a few words, because the visitor center is an important place as well. And I think that if that happens, I'll just make sure I'd have to change his day off, because it's every Tuesday is his day off. But I think the number we're at now, since he first started, or since they first started, is about 1,650 people that are visitors that have come to the lake and have used that center. Now, it's not a huge number, and the average daily rate, of course, is about 30 to 40, sometimes 55. So there's, at the end of the year, I'll give you a final report, and hope to include someone from the center so that they can give you a one-on-one to be more personal. Because you probably have a lot of questions, are they asking about biking or trails or tubing? I know some of the answers, but I'll leave that, I think, for a person that's been on the front line. So I hope that helps. And if there's any questions, I'm available here.
Thank you for that report, and the projections are great to hear. And also just make sure you thank your staff for all the efforts they're putting in, and yourself. We know it is hectic during the summer around here.
Okay.
So we appreciate all that, and I think even a report from the Info Centre lead would be great. That's something I definitely support. Any questions from fellow council? Councillor Sandhu?
Well, excuse me.
just-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
You go ahead.
Fine. I was just going to say thank you for your verbal report, but moving forward, it's really hard to hear. Like, I'm hearing the system up on the roof. So if we can have a written from all staff monthly, it just would make it easier.
I'd echo those thoughts too, because that's all fantastic information. But I mean, I'd love to see the public drowning in information going forward, Mr. Thomas, so we can actually celebrate some of the things you're doing. So if we have a written report that we can share with the public, that would be awesome to share the amazing work you guys are doing.
That's fine.
Did you have something to add? Yeah.
Well, there is something I want to add. I forgot. So on behalf of the town, I've been representing the strategy for cycling and tourism for the Cowichan Valley. And I think it's an important strategy. It's a 10-year strategy. And that the finished product should come out, I think, in August. And either I would like to talk about it then and give you more of a comprehensive idea of what we've been talking about and submit, I think there's a 66-page document so far. It's very, very interesting. And I was hoping, apparently someone in this room now is into cycling, and I'm not. And I was hoping this person would attend once in a while these meetings to show some strength. It's an inside joke with the CAO.
I'm guessing it's jazz, no? Not jazz?
Because I don't cycle.
We could take that offline. Definitely.
In any case, it's a neat project and very worthwhile. But one of the things we've identified, and you know this as well, we can make all kinds of ideas for programs and attracting people to the Cowichan Valley, but we don't have accommodation. And so for some of the cycling events, I made sure to say that the town, of course, if we needed to open the campus site up early or something, or which we already did once this year, we would open it, but again, as long as there's a big event. We can't do it for 1 or 2 people at a time. That doesn't make sense. Same for the education center. If it's in the middle of winter and there's a biking race, we'd be pleased to open it up. And so those are the kind of comments that we're making when we're involved with these meetings. And there's about 15 people on these strategy meetings, and we've met in person and we met online. So it's very exciting.
Mr. Thomas, you have something? You good? Just on the cycling, I think that I also sat in a meeting with one of the ministers, and I still think that we're missing out on cyclists in town because of the link between the Kinsole Trestle Trail coming out at King George Roundabout and how that connects to the town, because it's not clear where everything is. So you're seeing a lot of cyclists come in and then link back up with the trail to Duncan and then head out. It's not clear on how we attract. And I think that was one of my comments when I first got onto council. I think another thing is, I guess that falls into the active transportation kind of subject and how we connect with the Subatsit First Nation and also Sunfest grounds. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there with cycling in this community, but there's a lot of connection hiccups still. So just wanted to highlight that. Yeah. Any other discussion or comments? No. Thank you for that report once again.
Thank you.
Moving on to Public Works and Environmental Services. Superintendent, Public Works and Engineering Services, progress on the sanitary sewer plant. Mr. Sandhu.
So on the lagoon, we've been working on our upgrades and design for this year, but we've run into some challenges where, due to the extreme difficult condition of the Cowichan River, the ministry has amended our sewer discharge permit as of June the 24th. They've put some stringent changes on it, which is going to be very difficult for us to achieve. So we have to monitor pH 24/7 at Scotts Falls, and that, depending on the level, that'll indicate if we can discharge effluent or not. So if it hits a certain point, we have to cease discharge. Not only that, they put on loading charges of phosphorus loading. If the Cowichan River is flowing at 7.03, we can discharge 32 kilograms per month. If it goes any below that, we can only discharge 19 kilograms per month. So that cuts us in half. As of right now, Catalyst has requested to have it dropped down to 5.5 5.05, sorry, and I believe they're going to get that. So this is going to impact the town even more. So we're just working through, Dalton and I have gone through a lot of different meetings and discussions of how to meet this challenge. John's been working with us. We've had a couple meetings the last couple days, so we've got some big challenges ahead.
Questions? Just want to clarify, so it is 5.05, not 5.5 that they're going for.
I'm pretty sure it's 5.05.
5.05. And then just on your figures, when you're talking about phosphorus, was it? The 32 kgs. So what are we actually producing as a town per month?
It varies. It varies.
But we're having to hold back at that 32 kg mark at the moment? Or can we?
Well, it's whatever effluent we're discharging,
Yeah.
whatever phosphorus is in it. So it's we can only measure it on the samples we take. So and that can change.
So it varies.
Really daily.
Okay. Mr. Thomas?
First, I'd like to acknowledge the work Dalton and Jazz has put into this particular project. This is a very difficult situation for the town, as the town is well aware. There is a significant push by regulatory bodies to mitigate potential adverse impact to the environment, particularly the fishes in the streams. And I think I'll go out on a limb here and speak for everybody in the room that we all want to avoid that situation of 2023 repeating itself. We have a couple of ideas that we want to discuss with council at an in-camera session to provide you some additional details. In saying that, we are working with the engineer of record to assign some dedicated support on this particular issue to perhaps increase our capacity in order to respond to that issue in a more urgent basis than we have currently. Not to say that what we're doing so far hasn't been urgent, it has been, but it is now quite clear to the town that we have to increase that capacity as well, and we are taking some steps internally to make that a reality. We do have some additional information to share with council in camera.
Any questions? You'll wait. Yeah, just want to thank you guys for all your work on this. I know it's a very testing thing as we navigate our way through this. With that, I'll move on to new business. Friendship Park. Would anyone like to speak to that? Councillor Austin.
Thank you. Yes, I bring this up every once in a while. There are neighbors along McDonald Road that are a little concerned still about Friendship Park needing to be fire smarted. Trees need trimming and dead trees need to be removed. They have had, we had a little fire in there last year. There are houses all along that side by Beadnell Creek, but also you've got a gas station not that far away. If a fire did start, and with the winds we get here sometimes that could take off. So I'm wondering if we could write a letter to the school board to tell them of our concerns, and maybe they would have some funds to help with fire smarting, because our grant is just for the town, it's not for other properties. And see if there's anything that they can do before something happens that might be a problem for the town. It is right in the middle of our town, so if we can do that. I don't know if I need a motion to that effect or just discussion.
Just to clarify, because I'm unaware of this, so Friendship Park is in the school district. It's not town land.
Yeah, it's right beside. Yeah, it's,
I know where it is, but
yeah.
is school district land?
Yeah,
that whole thing.
it is. And
Okay.
we have. I know when Monroe was there, we were allowed to go in and clean up a few things, but my husband and I. But it shouldn't be up to us to do that. It needs to be fire smarted. It is important. There's a lot of dead wood in there, and some of the trees need trimming. There's dead trees as well. So if we could write a letter to the school board, I'd appreciate that with our concerns.
Councillor Sandhu?
I was just going to add to that, since it is the school district's property, is just add that it's their responsibility to maintain it. So I think, I don't know the last time it was maintained, but I think that's important that they understand that's their property.
Ma'am McGonigal?
Thank you. I think it is a partnership between the school district and the town, but don't quote me on that. There was some Fire Smart work that was conducted there by volunteers and school members about a month and a half ago, the last time we had rain. There was significant material removed, but there is quite a bit more that does need attention. I did take it upon myself to mark all the snags, given my forestry background, and did mention it to the principal to bring that to the attention of the school district on the need for those to be mitigated for safety and for infrastructure concerns. But a letter to the school board, hoping that they would accommodate some further work would be great.
Ms. Thomas?
If council is open to the idea, would you mind if I reach out and have a verbal with them prior to a letter being issued? Okay.
Yep, so happy with direction to staff to sort that out. Awesome. Next up, we'll stay with Mr. Thomas for council remuneration, if I can say that word, remuneration.
Actually, I'll introduce this. I had asked our new CAO to look at the council remuneration, that's hard to say, remuneration for the upcoming council members, and had asked him to bring forward some ideas. We have utilized consultants in the past, and just wondering what his ideas would be moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Mr. Mayor. Currently, bylaw 1077-2022 is in existence, which governs council compensation. This bylaw has an annual index of CPI for council compensation. So subject to the CPI rate, your compensation is adjusted accordingly. Typically before an election, council is always encouraged to consider its compensation package for the new members of council so that they are not faced with the pleasantries or unpleasantries dealing with that particular compensation. In saying that, there are a few options that council can proceed with. You can do an in-house review, which has some considerations that may or may not be appealing, or you can certainly have an external review done by an independent third party. I can do a call out for invitation subject to the procurement policy and get a couple of quotes for what that work would look like. Subject to the results, we could also do a tender or RFP and solicit feedback and then do an evaluation through that process. So the discretion is council for how you'd like to proceed, if you'd like to proceed with a review, and we can certainly come back with a report with some options, get council's explicit permission or direction, and then proceed from there.
What is the will of council? Mayor McGonigal.
Through you, if I may, what would your capacity be to accommodate that review?
That would be subject to council's desired timeline for reporting back. If it's within the first 6 months, that might be a challenge because of all the other files that are going on and the priority for major capital, particularly the lagoon. But if the intention is to have something in place, say 6 months before the election, I think that is something we can do in-house and go from there.
If I may continue, I don't think there's a time crunch on this, given that there's 15 months left in this term. Hopefully the fire hose will be turned off by then and you'll be able to drink from a cup. And I would like to see the in-house option and perhaps save some consulting fees for something more needed like the sewer treatment plant.
Would you be happy with just a direction of staff on this?
I think we just brought it forward for ideas on whether or not we were looking at timelines for council remuneration for the next board. I don't think there's any hurry for it, just what process we would like to do. I'd like to try in-house this time, and if that's amicable to the rest of council, I think that can be accommodated with Mr. Thomas's experience.
So we're looking for guidance, or we can move on from this?
Your call. If you wish a motion, I will move that. If you wish direction to staff, I will do that as well.
Okay, so the motion is that we proceed with an in-house review of council remuneration
For the next
for the next,
incoming
not
council.
for us.
Correct. Unless you choose to run.
Nope. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Vamaka. Any other discussion? I'll call the question. All those in favour? That motion is passed. Okay, we no longer have the HAF grant funds on the agenda. So we're going, any notices of motion? No. So we move to question period. The phone is on site, 250-749-3239. If anyone would like to speak on any agenda item tonight, feel free to come forward for 3 minutes per speaker. Seeing none, not hearing any phones ringing. We have an in-camera session tonight. Mr. Thomas, would you like to present why we're going into camera? Would you like to present why we're going into camera, or do you want me to read this out?
You could refer to the motion as written.
There you go. Would you like me to read it out? Or are we good for that? Okay. Section 92 of the Community Charter requires that before a meeting or part of a meeting is closed to the public, the council must state by resolution that the meeting is to be closed, and B, the basis on which the meeting is to be closed falls under the following section of the Community Charter. S91A, personal information about an identifiable individual that holds or is being considered for a position as an officer. S91C, labour relations or other employee relations. S91G, litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality. Can I have a motion to go into camera? Councillor Vamaka, seconded by Mayor McGonigal. All those in favour?